Welcome to the She Would Know podcast,
where curiosity meets expertise. Welcome back to another episode of the She Would Know podcast. I'm Shayna.
And I'm Chelsea, and we are so excited about today's episode. We're going to interview Chelsea Delgado. But before we do that, tell me about your trip. You just got back.
I just got back. I went to Ireland, and it was the most magical, just amazing time. It was the first trip me and my husband took since having kids, like by ourselves.
Wow.
And it's a place I've been dreaming of going since I was 13 years old. And for it to finally be reality, it just felt like a dream.
Oh my gosh. The pictures that you posted just looked like, I mean, being from Arizona, anytime I go somewhere green, like when I went to Norway, I was like, my brain cannot comprehend this much green and nature. Like, did you feel like that?
Yeah, it felt like the opposite of Arizona. Literally, the weather was half the temperature. Like, they couldn't compute. For one, it's in Celsius. So for me to say, oh yeah, back home it's 110 degrees, where there it's 19 degrees Celsius, they're like, huh? And then, yeah, the landscape was the complete opposite. It was rolling hills and green pastures. It looked like a patchwork quilt of green everywhere you looked. And it was rainy and overcast and then a little bit sunny. And then you're surrounded by an ocean. Just everything opposite of Arizona. And I got to wear long sleeves every day in August.
A dream.
It was crazy. I came home and I wanted to wear long sleeves and I can't. Like, I just start sweating even in my house. I'm like turning the AC all the way up in my car so I can wear a sweater. And it's just not the same. But it was so fun. I can't get over how nice everyone was. Like, we traveled around the country. We didn't stay anywhere longer than 2 nights. And we met so many people in pubs and on tours. And everyone was so nice. And they just wanted to talk to us and tell us their stories. And it was so fun to meet people who live a completely different life than I do.
Does it make you just wonder, like, how did I end up in Arizona? Arizona feels like such an armpit compared to the rest of the world sometimes.
Right? Well, and I chose to live here.
Yeah.
Why did I do that?
I think about that. I'm like, I could live anywhere in the world. And I'm here. What am I doing?
Yeah, I do want to move. I feel like the summers, I don't know how many summers I've been here, but this last summer especially, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if this is what I want for my children growing up. Like, my summers growing up in Kentucky or California, it was like I was outside all the time and just having fun and playing and doing all these things. And our kids can't be outside because it's too hot.
Yeah, and it's getting worse. Nothing like living in Arizona will make you believe in global warming. Like,
yeah. I mean, 116 degrees is not livable weather. Mm-hmm. So,
and it wasn't like that when I was a kid. Like, I played outside as a kid too, but it would be like 100 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But the 15 extra degrees makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference. And you get dehydrated so quickly. Like, my son actually got heat stroke on Friday night because he was out golfing with dad and he just got overheated so quickly.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's really hard. But wow, where's my brain? My trip was amazing. I am so glad. I'm so grateful for my mothers-in-law who helped watch the kids. Because again, it was our first trip away from kids. Mm-hmm. I did not miss them. My husband did. So I was like, okay, this is good. I did not spend my days crying about, oh, I want to see my kids. No, it was a great break and they were loved and they had a great time. And my husband and I got to spend some quality time together, which we do not do really ever. So it was really good for us. And yeah, it gave me the travel bug. I'm like ready to go on another trip now.
Yeah. I'll go on a trip with you. I always have the travel bug.
I just don't always have the travel fund. So
yes,
that's the biggest hiccup.
I know. I keep trying to remind myself, like, there are cool places like in Arizona or in neighboring states that I could go to, but it doesn't feel as fun as like going to Ireland.
Yeah. Like, I've never been to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, it's awesome.
I need to go, but I can't go with my kids because that gives me way too much anxiety.
Girls trip to the Grand Canyon. Let's
go. Let's do it. Awesome. I heard it's cooler up there. Is that true?
Uh-huh. At the top.
At the top. Okay.
Yeah. It's like pine trees at the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay. Do you have any she should knows?
Yes, I actually started a note in my phone because when I think of clever things, I can never actually think of them again by the time that we're recording. So I've got a money saving life hack for all the girl moms out there. Don't buy detangler spray. It's a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
Just squirt some conditioner into a spray bottle.
Yep.
With water and mix it all up. And that is your detangler spray. It works great.
Yeah. And don't waste money on kids' hair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know some people disagree with me on that. Hairdressers might disagree. And they're like, no, use good quality stuff on your kids' hair. I am not. That's not my tax bracket. But yeah, I have an old, it's a 10 conditioner spray bottle, and I just refill it with my Costco conditioner.
Yeah, I do like a quarter conditioner, 3/4 water.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter has curly hair, so maybe if you didn't have curly hair, you might not need as much conditioner, but it works great.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So that's my she should know.
I love it. My she should know is from the car mom. I was listening to her, and she shared this little tidbit regarding car buying. Because someone asked if you can get a better deal if you're buying a car in cash. And she said, actually, no, you do not get a better deal when you buy a car with cash because the car dealers are incentivized for you to finance. So what happens is, either way, they're getting their money. They're getting their money from the bank or they're getting it from you. But if they get it through the bank and you finance through the car dealership, through the bank will have a set interest rate that they're giving to the car dealership. But then the car dealership can add an interest, like a point on that interest rate to charge you. So maybe you're paying 7% interest to the bank, but you're paying an extra percent to the car dealership. So they say you have an 8% interest rate. The car dealership is pocketing that extra percent. So they actually want you to finance through them because they make a little bit more money. So when you go to buy a car, if they ask you, oh, are you paying cash or you're financing? Just be like, I haven't decided yet. I'm more interested in like what the bottom dollar line. Is that the right word? Like what the base price. Is, yeah, the bottom line is for the car, not what the monthly payment is. You want to know like overall, what is the total cost of the car going to be? So
excellent.
Yeah. I thought that was super fascinating because we buy our cars cash. Or, we're not buying a bunch of cars. We're buying used cars. And we've had to buy one through the dealership before. And I went in thinking like, oh yeah, I'm buying cash. Like, give me a better deal. Like, take some money off. No, actually, I should have gone in being like, oh, I don't know. Like, let's just tell me what the price is going to be because you want to have a final price, like with any sort of dealer markdowns or incentives before you tell them, okay, I'm financing or I'm paying with cash.
Okay. That's such a great tip. The car mom is awesome.
I love her. She helped me I watched all of her videos when I had to buy my first mom car back in 2021 because we had been a one car family for a year and I had to have a car. I was going back to work and I watched all of her videos because I was like, I want to know cup holders, car seats, like everything, reliability. And yeah.
Okay, I think I need to tell everyone what's happening to my car.
Oh yes, what's happening with your car? I need
still don't have it back. Okay,
Ninja Creamy Cup.
Yes, like probably 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Yeah, like 2 months or more. So my brakes weren't working well. I think I was sick. I was just super pregnant. I don't know. I convinced my mom to take my car in for me. Okay, I'm the youngest child. I'm a baby, and I try to get my mom to do stuff for me all the time. Don't judge me. But anyways, I convinced my mom to take my car in for me. So she went and dropped it off at the dealership. Turns out that, and that's an important detail, but anyways, turns out my drivetrain wasn't working. The chip that they use in the machine that makes drive chains there's a huge outage of it. There's like a big supply chain issue where they're not making the chip or something. I don't know. There's something wrong with the machine that makes the chips that's needed in the machine to make the drivetrain. So there's like no way to get a drivetrain. There's none in stock. Anyways, my car has been stuck there because they won't give it back to me because it's a safety issue. Because it's the brakes for 2 months. So my mom ended up with a loaner car and I'm driving my mom's car. So I've been driving my mom's car for 2 months and she's been driving the Subaru dealership loaner car. But they finally gave us a date, September 1st. So today's August 14th. So that's still, they think that they will get the part September 1st.
Okay.
So
they think they'll get the part and then they still have to fix the car.
So who knows? Maybe I'll get my car by Halloween. I don't know, but I really miss my car. I have a Subaru Ascent and I love it.
Yeah, you had it for like a month before all this happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, my mom has a Subaru Forester. I guess we've turned into a Subaru family. And I like the Forester. It's fine, but there's things I like about the Ascent much better. I think it's the perfect mom car.
Yeah. I loved the Ascent. I also was looking into that when I was doing my research phase. My husband just will not drive a Subaru, so.
There's like 17 cup holders in the Ascent.
Yeah.
And rear air vents. So.
Can't live without rear air vents in Arizona.
That's true.
Okay, I do have a she needs to know.
Okay.
Which is not something we've mentioned.
This is a new segment. I love it.
This is a new segment. And this is I am the she that needs to know. What vacuum is everyone using? Do you love it? Because I hate my vacuum. I have a Dyson, I want to say V11. I don't even know. I got it 3-4 years ago and it sucks at sucking.
Yeah.
Like it's just not a good vacuum. We're at the point now and like I change the filter, I clean out the brush, I do all these things. But we're at the point now it's like I'll vacuum and then when I turn the vacuum off, stuff falls out of the bottom.
Oh, that's gross and annoying.
It's awful and I'm sick of it. And I hate the fact that you have to hold the button down the whole time. I even bought like one of those little tools that keeps the button pushed down for you.
So are you looking for a cordless vacuum?
I don't even care. I just want the best vacuum.
Yeah. I remember when I was adding a vacuum to my wedding registry on Amazon, looking through all the reviews and stuff, everyone hates every vacuum, it seems like.
Yeah, that's true.
I should send you the link for mine because my daughter poured an entire bag of flour on my rug and it did a great job of vacuuming up all the flour.
That sounds like the type of power I need. And it's like I have a 2-story and upstairs is carpet, downstairs is tile. So I need something that does everything. Also that isn't too heavy. I don't know. At this point, I want an upstairs and a downstairs vacuum because I'm just that sick of carrying a vacuum up and down. But I've also heard of those Tineco vacuum mops, which also sounds intriguing because I hate mopping. And I'm like, what if I could just do it?
Oh, I mop like once.
Yeah, I'm not even at that right now because the second I mop, the kids spill whatever on the ground.
So everyone send us DMs with your thoughts and feelings
on
about
vacuums, please, because I'm desperate.
I'm dying to know what everyone has to say because, I have the Tineco cordless vacuum and it's...
Oh, you do?
Fine.
The mopping one?
No, not the mopping one.
Oh, just the vacuum.
Yeah.
Okay.
The knockoff Dyson one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, let's jump in to the rest of our episode. We are interviewing Chelsea Delgado. She is a mom content creator. She is a super fun follow. If you haven't seen her stuff before, she posts on Instagram and TikTok all about being a mom of 3. She started posting originally about fitness and then switched to sharing about her postpartum journey and living with postpartum depression. And now she just shares bits and pieces of her everyday life. And she has become pretty successful as a content creator. So I think it'll be super fun to hear from her, especially if you're someone who is interested in pursuing content creation as a career or as a way to make income. She has some super helpful tips and tricks for you. So let's get into it.
Okay, Chelsea, we're so glad that you're here on the She Would Know podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, we're going to just jump right into some rapid fire questions. So don't overthink these. Just give us your answer as quick as possible, just to warm us all up. Sound good?
Okay, I am a yapper, so you'll might have
There is a time limit on this.
Rein it in.
So yeah, you're like...
Okay, what is your favorite meal to make?
Favorite meal for myself or my kids?
Yourself.
Myself, I love the Kevin's chicken, specifically the coconut one with some rice.
That one is delicious.
It's so good. I had it just now for dinner, and it is chef's kiss.
And so easy, which all meals need to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your hobby?
My hobby is photography. Well, actually, it was I used to do that, that was my old job, but it's always been my hobby. But now I don't do it as a job anymore. So it's back to being my hobby.
I love that. Okay, and what are 3 words to describe yourself in high school?
High school, insecure, athletic, and goofy.
I love it.
Finish the sentence. The way to my heart is.
Instantly, I thought ice cream. I don't know.
That counts.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
7.
Every day? Is that a timer or kids?
Well, both. Like,
Both, yeah.
we have our alarm that goes off at 7, but our kids are also now trained to wake up at 7 as well. So that's when our day starts. We have to get out for school by 7:40. So we have a 40-minute time, like, get everybody ready. Let's go, go, go.
Crunch time.
Man,
Yeah.
that is impressive. You can get 3 kids out the door in 40 minutes.
And myself. I mean, not
yourself.
really ready, but like, I'm not in my pajamas when I leave the house. And
Yeah.
that's
I want to
impressive
be
for
a
myself.
fly on the wall and see what you're doing because I'm so slow to get me and my 2 kids out the door.
I feel like, because I see you do a lot of like morning in my life, day in my life videos. And I feel like I'd want to do that, but you have to add extra time in for the recording so that it's not realistic. And
Exactly. And that's why you've never actually seen a morning in my life. Like, if you actually look, I'll put like times. I never actually put I don't start when we wake up because I'm so rushed. There's no way I have time to like set up the tripod.
there's no stretching in the back.
Exactly. Like, I can't like come back in bed and like, oh, I just woke up. No, there's no time for that.
Okay.
Well, our 90 seconds are probably up.
Whatever. We'll keep going. I like her answers. What is the best compliment you've ever received?
I think that I'm really smart. Sounds so stupid. But like when someone's like, you seem really intelligent, I'm like, thank you. That's something that I have tried to work for, and I feel like it's not something that people ever compliment you on.
Yeah.
That is probably the best compliment. When someone tells me I'm smart or my house is pretty, I'm like, I'll love you to the day that I die. Okay, what's one item you can't live without?
I look at my phone. I'm like, well, phone.
I think everyone has answered it that way.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy doing in your alone time?
Oh, The Sims. I have been on a Sims bender for like 2 weeks now. Oh my gosh. And I think I figured out why. It's because I'm perfectly in control. Also, I'm famous and I'm rich. So I'm living my dream life in my spare time. And I always think of that movie Ready Player One, and I'm like, this is me right now. I'm like my other dimension. But it's very comforting. So it's been my thing.
Maybe I need to get on The Sims.
Yeah.
I
A
wonder
healthy way to have complete control. Okay, last one. What is your favorite gas station snack?
Ooh, the taquitos from QT. The pepper jack.
Okay.
Jeez.
Interesting. Chelsea, you're also a gas station foodie.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you are.
I'm pretty sure I got hepatitis from a gas station hamburger. Either that or a Costco fruit recall. I'm not sure. They both happened around the same time. Oh, man.
All right. Well, thank you, Chelsea, for answering those questions. It was fun to get to know you a little bit. So today we are talking about your journey to becoming a successful content creator.
Yeah, I'm excited to share.
Yeah. And it's so fun to follow you. And we actually connected because we came to one of your events that you did. And that was really fun.
Yeah, that was so exciting to see you guys there. And now you guys have your own podcast.
Now we
So it's
have our
like
own
a nice little
That was
circle
when
moment.
we talked about for the first time starting our own podcast.
Really?
Well, I think it was like a few days before we like mentioned it. And then I saw you post about the event and we're like, should we go and see if this is actually something we want to do?
And then I remember standing outside of whatever that restaurant is that used to be a Sweet Tomatoes and being like, we're going to do this. We're going to actually start a podcast. So thank you.
You are an inspiration.
No, it worked. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background and what sparked your interest in becoming a content creator.
Yeah, I think like if we take it way back, I always laugh when people are like, so how'd you get here? I'm like, well, if you saw my childhood videos, like home videos, you'd be like, oh, of course, there's like no other option. Like it makes perfect sense. I was always the performer. I was always making videos, and I was even making like YouTube videos before YouTube was even a big thing. So I've just always been a creative, and I've always been a performer. So I think I like shied away from things once I became an adult. You know, like I think really like in high school, I was like, ooh, like maybe this isn't so cool. And I kind of like put that in like the back burner, and I never actually pursued any of that stuff. But I've always been a creative. And so even then I was like doing photography or doing art and painting. And So I've just always been that minded. And so fast forward to adulthood, and I'm like figuring out, okay, I'm going to do photography as my business. And I made that my full-time thing. So then when I started having kids, I started out as a fitness account because I was a personal trainer. So I was a fitness account on TikTok only, just for fun, like during the pandemic. And nothing like, I blew up to, I think, like 50K, which was like nothing then. Like it sounds like a lot now, I think, but then it was like people were blowing up to millions overnight, it seemed like. So during that time, I was a fitness account. And then after I got pregnant with my third, that's when I was like, maybe I'll like switch gears a little bit. And I became a motherhood account. And so it's been close to like 2 years now that I've been a motherhood account. And then I really started sharing on Instagram. I was only on TikTok. Then I went to Instagram when she was born, sharing about like postpartum and like postpartum depression, all of that, and just more of my journey and being more authentic there. I really like did not think Instagram, I thought it was dead. I honestly was like, who cares? Like I should not even try there because who cares? And then once I tried, I was like, oh, actually this is not dead. It's very alive and this is where the money is. So that was like my path of finding like, and also to wrap that part up of from when I was a kid, I became more confident and more sure of myself and less afraid of like, oh, what are they going to think? Oh, people are going to judge me. Oh, my family, friends, that all of that, I could care less anymore. Like I just did not care anymore. And I just embrace it. And I'm like, no, this is what makes me happy. It's fun and it makes me money and I love it.
That's awesome.
Was your goal always to monetize?
No, it was just to have fun. I literally, like I said, I started for fun. Mm-hmm. And in 2021 is the first time I ever posted on TikTok. And I did not expect anything of it.
That's awesome. So what made you decide on your niche and target audience? I know you said you decided to do motherhood. Was it just because motherhood was your life and you're like, I might as well be sharing this? Or what was that like?
Yeah, so I think when I shifted from, I kind of was at a point with fitness where I was like, it doesn't feel like I don't feel super aligned with that anymore. Not that I didn't love fitness, because I still love fitness. And if you see my page, you'll still see that that's very much a part of my life. But being boxed in like that, I didn't like that. And I wanted to be able to share all of my life, like everything that was going on. And I also didn't like the pressure of like, oh, I need to look like so-and-so, or I'm not considered, real in the professional fitness space or whatever. So there was just a lot of pressure. And then I started questioning myself, and it was like a time of insecurity again, where I'm like, oh, I'm not enough to look like the fitness girls. So I realized, okay, my mental health is probably not great being in this space anymore. And especially getting pregnant with my third, I'm like, this is the time I need to switch gears. I need to go over to motherhood, because that felt like a more broad and open-ended box for me. Like, okay, I'll share everything. I can share whatever I feel like. And that has totally opened the doors for me. And now I feel like I truly can just share about my life.
Well, and now you're a brand. Like Chelsea Delgado is a brand, including motherhood, fitness, being a content creator, all of those things. It's like you get to be whoever you want and explore all aspects of yourself, which is just fun as consumers for us to see all of those different aspects of your life and how you balance them.
Well, thank you. I feel like one thing I learned, I forget who said it, but I was listening to something and they talked about how it was really important to be your own name instead of like trying to box yourself into like, I'm Chelsea the fitness girl, or the, whatever person that you're trying to be. Instead of boxing yourself in like that, to just be your name. Like make everything your name. That way it grows with you. You're known for that. Like they're not like, oh, who's like, for example, the Ballerina Farm. Like everyone's like, oh, Ballerina Farm, what's her name? Like no one knows who she is, but they know Ballerina Farm. Yeah. So like I just kept hearing like, use your name, become a household name. And so I went from being diapers and dumbbells.
Love it.
To Chelsea Delgado. So I am embracing my name.
Well, it worked.
And what were the steps you took to build your following at first? Like when you were like, I do want to build a following and make this a job.
Yeah, so I think I started taking it a little more. Well, let me back up a little bit. So when I started posting on Instagram, at this point, I had roughly like 60K, I think, on TikTok. I was getting stagnant. And because of that, I was like, well, let's just try Instagram for fun. Like not expecting anything of it. I was just like, for fun, we'll just post over there. That's where my friends are. So I started posting and it took off really quick. And I was so surprised. I was like, wow, okay, I'm not even trying really. But because I have so much practice and I was already so comfortable for the past couple of years on TikTok that it was like, okay, this is natural. My people just found me really fast. And I had already mastered like posting and times and hashtags and all that. So it was kind of like I was practicing over there. And I came on Instagram and it was like, boom, okay, we got it down. So once I started posting there, I grew relatively fast. Like that first year, I grew really fast. And that's when I was like, okay, I can make this a job. Like when brand deals started reaching out, and I was floored every time, like, wow, I can make this much money from a video. And I, like I have background in so many different professions. And so now my barometer was just totally shifting for like my pay scale, like, oh, I can make this much when I used to work this long and this hard for that much. It just totally changed the way that I saw things. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this, I'm going to work on this. Like, this is my thing now. I'm going to make this a job because if I can keep this up, I'll be able to seriously help our family. And then that really gave me the final push when my husband started his master's program. We didn't have an income. So I was like, okay, should I go find another office job? Or should I just like dive in and make this work, like sink or swim moment? And that's what I ended up doing. It was like a last minute thing. I had a job lined up. I was going to go back to work and like put my kids into like have a childcare, come over for them. So I'm just so glad my husband actually gave me the boost. He was just like, you can do this. You can, make this work. You've been doing great so far. We had enough money to be good for like the next 3 months. So I was like, okay, if in 3 months I'm not great, like I'm not seeing really good results from this, then I will go find an office job. But it worked out.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. So brands were reaching out to you.
Yes.
First, you weren't really like seeking them out. It was just kind of like a fall in my lap.
So people always ask me that, like, so how do you reach out to brands? I don't. I have literally never reached out to a brand. They will be in your inbox if they want you. And I was shocked by that, honestly, but they'll find you. You don't have to worry about reaching out at first, at least. Well, I should say, if you're a smaller account, you might want to reach out just to like get your name out there and have them see you, like get eyes on you. You probably won't get great pay, but you'll get experience. But when you have good engagement and a community behind you, they will reach out to you.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say are like the most important things to be trying to achieve or doing for brands to be attracted to you?
So the number one thing is engagement. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 200K and your engagement's terrible, you're not going to get good deals. But if you have like a 50K audience and your engagement is amazing, you're going to probably make more than those people with 200K followers. So it's all about engagement. That's the only thing that matters.
Is there a percentage? Do you have specifics? You can give a range.
No, I forget. I used to know. I can't think off the top of my head what the percentage was, but like even if you Google it, like it'll have like a healthy range of engagement, and you want to be in that range. If not, like they're not gonna want you to make a video for them really, because who's gonna be watching it? They don't want to pay you if no one's really gonna be watching. And if they're a good brand to work with, they're not gonna be like, well, you have to guarantee this many views or XYZ. They will never say that if they're a legit brand. If they do, run. But yeah, like they should respect your worth, and you should also know your worth and not, like, oh, sure, I'll do it for a trade. Like don't do that because you're worth more than that. You're giving them free content, free advertising. So where I was rambling, sorry. Now I'm like,
that's
back
okay.
to engagement.
Yeah. And what's your advice for creating engaging content?
Yeah. So honestly, it's different on each platform. I think on TikTok, I think they just want really unfiltered, very uncurated, like pull out your phone as you're walking down the street kind of vibes. And Instagram wants more of like the well thought out, the well edited, like just very well put together. And I have a hard time with that. And that I hurt myself sometimes because I'll repurpose my TikTok stuff over to Instagram. And Instagram doesn't love that because it's not like pretty and it's not well curated. So even I have a hard time sticking to that, but I do know that's what works best on Instagram.
It's such a shame. Because like I like the platform and like Instagram better because it's more organized, but I don't make pretty things.
Yeah,
I never enjoyed making pretty things.
I feel like I'm more of like a TikTok girl as far as aesthetic goes, but yeah, TikTok or Instagram is not like that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you decide which brands to work with? Because I'm sure you probably get more pitches than you do accept.
Yeah, I feel like, well, first of all, the rate. Like, if they're not willing to meet me at my rate or work out something that feels reasonable to me, because now I know what like pretty standard rates are for your engagement and following. And if they're not willing to meet that, I just won't do it. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it to me. And also, if it's like something I actually use and like, I'm not just like, there have been some ridiculous things. Like, I have gotten something for like, usually the things that really turn me off are like the get skinny quick or the, postpartum weight loss, all these things, XYZ, where I'm like, no, I'm not going to poach my audience for all like their insecurities, first of all. So things like that where I'm like, no, I just don't align with that. I'm not going to do it. Even if they want to pay me a lot, I just don't do it. And yeah, things that I also feel comfortable doing as well. Like I've had like adult companies and alcohol companies, which is like, that's fine. Like I'm cool with it, like personally, but like I don't like my page. I don't feel like I'm like, yeah, like, that's just not me. So it just has to be like fitting. I feel like what my vibe is on my page.
Yeah, like I saw you do a partnership with LabCorp, and I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, like I personally literally went and got my blood work done at LabCorp like 2 days ago.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I didn't even know that like a brand like LabCorp would do a brand partnership. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like all the brands are now. Mm-hmm. So there's really nothing out of reach, I don't think.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how do you prioritize your mental health, like with being online all the time? Or do you have like, screen time boundaries for yourself? Like, what's all that like?
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's constantly evolving with me and something that even when I get a good routine down, I will find myself slipping up because I'm trying to work on a certain project or something like that where I'm like, okay, we need to reevaluate. Like right now I'm at the point I had a really good system where I did not take my phone out until I had created content. Like I couldn't look at content until I had created content because it floods your mind. It gives you all this insecurity before you can even create. So I always tell myself, create before you consume. And so I wake up, I take my kids to school, do our morning routine, all of that. I go exercise and I try still not to be scrolling, like none of that until I have posted my own stuff, created my own stuff. And so that's usually like, I would say like 11 or 12-ish around that time. And then by the time my son comes home from school, I'm like, okay, phone's gone. We got to put everything away so that it's just afternoon until bedtime is only with them. And then when they're in bed, that's when, okay, now it's my time to take out my phone and do whatever I need to do. And that's where I've gotten a little like too extreme where I'm like, okay, I do also need to make time for my husband and like, we'll just be there on our phones together, like bonding, if you can call it that. But so I'm working on that balance still, but that's kind of more or less what's been working so far for me.
Yeah.
But mental health wise, I would say people always say, how do you manage all the mean comments? Because no matter what, if you go viral, you're going to get really mean people. It doesn't matter what platform, it doesn't matter what the video is. It could be the most gentle, wholesome video out there, and you're still going to get haters. It's insane. But my first time I had that experience, I did cry. I did have like a little meltdown. And I'm like, do I really want to do this? This is like, people are brutal. And I just realized this doesn't say anything about me. They don't even know me. It says everything about them. And so now I've just completely separated it where what they say, it means absolutely nothing to me. They don't know me. Would I take advice from them? It means nothing. So now I can easily brush it off. But the first time, if you're a new creator, it hurts. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that it really hurts. Mm-hmm. But you have to like shift your mindset on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to say, thank you for the engagement. Bye.
Exactly. Thank you. You did exactly what I wanted you to do.
And I found that people who make the craziest comments, they have their settings on so that you can't actually tag them in a response. I don't know if you've noticed that. But
yes, always.
I'm like, this must be a habit of yours to make crazy, weird, mean comments on people's stuff.
Yeah, well, and I feel like they have those Finsta accounts, like where their literal purpose is just to go hate and leave mean comments. I noticed that probably with like 90% of the accounts that leave mean things. But I will say, I think on Instagram, people who are our generation and older don't realize that we can just like click their profile and find out who they are and where they live and where they work.
Yeah.
So like they leave all of that information for us. I'm like, wow, that is really bold of you to go be so hateful with your picture and your name right there. But that I kind of love that they're getting called out for that too. So I just have to remember, like, that's on them. That's their own issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can you get more into your content creation process? How do you come up with ideas? Do you write out a production idea script? I don't even know. Just tell us all of the details.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I so much as script things. I'm pretty like off the cuff, I guess. Improv girl. But I have a very long running list on my notepad. I mean, if I pulled it out, oh my gosh, if I counted it, it's been going now for 3 years and I probably have like 200 plus ideas on there. So literally if I blank, so I make those so that I can have recording days.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, even if I don't have anything fresh in my mind, I'm like, well, let's see what's on the list. And I'll pick something that feels like, oh, I can do this today. This feels right or good, whatever. So I can pick things from that list and then I'll take them off. And that has worked amazingly for me. And the way that I set it up is like I will have my creating days. So I film on certain days. And then I have my editing days where I just literally sit in my ugly clothes and I no makeup and my bun up and, I don't even bother getting ready. But I'm editing all like my work day. And then the day that I film, I'm like actually getting ready, like get ready with me. I'm going to do a little vlog and all of that. Like those are the days I actually get ready. So I feel like separating it and batching your content changes it makes you so much more productive and thoughtful with what you're doing instead of like, oh, I'll just pull out the phone, every 10 minutes when I think of something, because then you're on your phone all the time. And I don't want my kids to see me on my phone all the time. And I want to actually feel like, because I'm treating it like a full-time job because it is a full-time job now. So I want it to be like structured. Okay, today we're filming. Today we're editing. Today we're posting. Today, just XYZ.
And how often do you post? Do you post every day?
Yes. On Instagram, I post 6 times a week on Instagram, roughly. Sometimes it'll be like 5, sometimes 7, but it's always in the 5-7 window. You can do whatever works for you. Some people, like I've seen people post 3 times a day when they're trying to grow. I only do that on TikTok because you actually do need to post 3 to 5 times to grow on TikTok, which is insane. But you can actually, but like over there, you can be like careless, like you can show up however you want to show up. It doesn't need to be pretty. It can be literally the weirdest thing ever and it could pop off. But that's not the same on Instagram. So I just try to stick with 1 time a day, posting at your peak hour, which for me is 12 o'clock. So I usually post around 11 or 12. And yeah, so I just do 1 time a day, TikTok, usually 2 to 3 times a day. And then I've been trying to work on YouTube Shorts, try to grow over there and trying to do that once a day. So it's a lot, but I have like, I set a reminder though. I'm like, okay, at 11 o'clock, post, like get on everything, post. So it's just like done for the day. I at least have one thing done on all the platforms.
Yeah. Do you schedule stuff or you post it live every day?
Live every day. I don't trust scheduling platforms. That's just me, my own like technological trust issues. I don't know if they'll get the my cover photo right, get all of that. Like that has to be right in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I do sometimes draft things and then I'll just go in and like it's ready, has the caption and the image is already there, so I can just make sure it's good and post.
Yeah, you can't trust the scheduling thing. It posted 2 posts that were scheduled for later the week yesterday on my account at the same time, like 4 days early. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, I don't trust. I learned that actually with my photography page back in the day. I was like, ooh, like I thought, because it sounds great in theory, but yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way too.
Yeah, glitching. Too many glitches on the internet.
What is the hardest part of the content creation process for you?
I feel like the hardest part for me actually is editing, like work-wise editing, just because it takes so much more time and thought to sit down and do that. Like if I could hire someone to do that, oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Because I feel like I'm like just the creative doer and I want to make everything and do all the fun things, but to actually sit down and piece it together and make it look nice and all the, the fonts and the captioning and all that stuff, I'm like, oh, this is so tedious. That's the part that drives me nuts. And then I think like mentally the hardest part of content creation is the constant comparison and the constant, not only comparison you to other creators, but you to just other humans on the app. And you're like, oh, she's gorgeous. Should I look like that? You just like, you suddenly have insecurities that you never had before. And also because you look at your face every day and you're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? You just don't notice things until you're staring at your face in the camera every single day. So in a way, it's helped my self-esteem, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm really self-aware. So it's flip side.
Totally. Oh man.
Wait, I had another question. Oh, what I found it. I found it in my brain. As far as days where you're with your kids or whatever, and you post your video, do you have rules for engaging with your audience right after? Like, when do you respond to comments? How do you balance that with your kids?
Yeah, so I typically, again, so my posting time, I'm pretty good at staying in between that 11 to 12 window. And at that point, my oldest is still at school. My youngest is like getting picked up from school. So I'll try to I'll give it probably 20 minutes or so, and then I'll hop on to see the comments, and I'll try to respond to every single one, like all those new ones that come on, because it brings more engagement. It makes your community feel seen and loved. And then as soon as he's home, I literally I'll take my phone, I'll just throw it somewhere. I don't even want to see it. I don't want to be tempted with it the minute that he is home, and I'm like, hey, how's your day? So I just use every minute till he's home. And then once I've caught up with him, see how he's doing, we get him lunch, all that stuff. And then I'll probably a couple hours later, then I'll hop back on, answer more, comments, whatever, DMs, all of that. And so I just have my little chunks of time.
Okay.
And I try to break it up like that.
Yeah, what you said about having the phone out of sight, I have to do that too. When I go home from work, I leave my phone in my car because I can't. If it's around, you'll see it. And I think that's anyone, whether you're a content creator or not. If you love Instagram as much as the average millennial woman does, you gotta have it out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, because I feel like we just pick it up and we're like, how did I get here? I'm on an autopilot and now I'm looking at stories and I didn't even mean to. Mm-hmm. So I have to not even be around it.
Okay, so if someone is an aspiring influencer or content creator, what advice would you have for them? What advice would you have for them at the beginning?
Yeah, so I feel like I would tell them, sit down and really, on paper, I would tell them to, first of all, know exactly who you're talking to. Make a very descriptive list, who exactly describe her to me, who she is, what she's looking for, how you can help her, and then start creating content for that person. And I feel like when you know exactly who you're making content for, it's so much easier rather than just, oh, this seems cool today. It can be all over the place. So I feel like getting really honed in on who you're talking to helps you immensely. And then on top of that, having quality content, because even though, and if you go to my page, you see, I'm not someone who lives in a mansion and who's always well put together. I'm just a regular mom. I don't have anything fancy about me, but my content will still be high quality, I would consider. I'm not going to sit in a dark room. I'm not going to have super grainy images. I'm still going to try to make it look aesthetically pleasing, even if my life is not. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's something that's important to understand, because I have so many people asking me oh, you're so inspirational to do this as a regular mom, which I love that. And I want to see so many more regular moms out there, because it makes us feel seen. It really does. But for that algorithm to pick you up, you do need your content to look good, though. Show us your regular life, show us your regular house, but you still need just open a window, or get a good light. Just make sure that things look good so people will watch. Because even I know I will scroll right through something that's dark and grainy and not a pretty content quality. So make it good quality, invest in yourself, get a good iPhone with a good camera or whatever it is. It makes such a difference. And then just really honing in on your craft, posting even when it's good enough. It does not need to be perfect. You're going to get a lot of practice in, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's okay. And yeah, I just feel like being yourself is so important, because when we're trying so hard to like, be someone else, or, you know, oh, the Southern accents are really hot right now doing their day in the life, so I'm going to do that. No, if that's not you, don't do that. Like, be yourself. Be as weird as you want. Like, be as, you know, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, think about how your friends would describe you and really lean into that. And yeah, I feel like just being yourself, because people will sniff out fake from a mile away and they're not going to want to follow you. They're not going to feel that actual connection to you. And I feel like once I actually was being more genuine in myself, that's when people started finding me and following me, because I wasn't trying to be that, you know, whoever the popular influencer was at the time. I'm not trying to copy everyone else. So I just feel like be yourself.
That is such good advice. You mentioned at the beginning that, you know, to be really clear on like who your ideal audience is, like who is your ideal audience? And I think that's interesting to hear the background of that and then see it on the other side too.
Yeah. Do you have content pillars?
No, I don't have content pillars.
I feel like that's one of those like buzzwords that influencer coaches use. And it's like, okay, but how helpful are those really?
Yes, I feel like I've heard that buzzword as well, and I have never done that. I don't know exactly what that means, but I have, I know who I'm talking to, and who I'm talking to is postpartum Chelsea, myself. I'm looking at her, I'm seeing her in the depths of postpartum, feeling so isolated and so anxious and so like feeling like everyone has it better than her. So I look at her and I'm like, okay, how can I make her feel seen? How can I make her feel educated or just comforted or entertained even, you know? Like, and so I think that's something really important to acknowledge as well, is if this video doesn't entertain, educate, or inspire, don't even post it. Like, if it doesn't offer any value, there's no reason anyone else will stick around, and it's not going to help your engagement rate. So I don't know. I feel like you can make it whoever, you know, you can be talking to your grandma, you could be talking to your past self, you could be talking to a celebrity, you know, whatever your audience is, it can be whatever fits your niche.
Mm-hmm. What are your goals right now with social media? Is it growth? Is it making money? Is it just having fun?
It's definitely making money. Like right now, I like to joke that I have girl bossed a little too close to the sun, and now I am the you know, I'm paying our bills with social media. The best thing ever, and it's like hugely blessed our family, and I'm so thankful that I get to do this. However, now I feel like I do understand like the stress that my husband was under, like, you know, a couple of years ago where he was the sole provider, and now it's on me, and like it's just a different dynamic. And so it does give us greater empathy, I think, for each other as well. And so, yeah, I mean, my purpose is to make money, but to do that, I do have to have really good engagement. So for me, it's like, it's not about the number of followers, it's about the engagement. So that's really my only priority, is to create quality content for the community that I already have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I mean, not that I know so much about being a content creator, but I feel like sometimes people just have the goal of becoming viral, but they don't understand that doesn't exactly help your engagement in the long term. It
exactly
just gets you a lot of views on one video.
Yeah, and it gets you a lot of hate comments for no reason. So I've gone viral plenty of times, and sometimes it will take you, I mean, you'll jump maybe 20,000 followers in a week, and you're like, whoa, this is amazing. But I would say most of the times it doesn't, and you don't grow at all. You've just gone viral, and you get a lot of hate comments, and nothing really changed. So by going viral isn't all the hype that you think it is.
Do you mind sharing a little bit more just about your family? Because you've alluded to things on Instagram about your husband, but can you share a little bit more about your family dynamic and what things look like for you guys right now?
Yeah, right now we're just kind of like in a weird limbo spot, I think. So, because my husband just finished his master's program, and that's when I was being a like stay-at-home mom full time, you know, like where I was solo parenting all the time for a solid 9 months. And so now things have kind of flipped where he just finished school, and then he has been hoping to get into dental school, and we haven't heard anything yet. So he hasn't gotten in for this round. So now it's kind of like, okay, what's next? Like, do we try for next year? Do we figure out a new plan? So it's just like an awkward limbo phase, what I call it. And that's something that's like, you know, it's something he has to figure out for himself, like what will make him happy, and because that's going to be his future. So right now I'm just like, okay, we're good. Like, thank goodness we're good. And this has built up to be able to keep us stable in the meantime. And yeah, right now we're home together. So it's actually really cool. And I feel really lucky, like it's my turn. I get to have a turn to work and like focus on creating my business. And I love that I have actual work hours. So when the kids are at school, I'm actually in my room, my work office is what, you know, we have our little separate area. So I'm working during the entire time that they're at school, and I feel like I've gotten so much more done. And that's why now I'm like, okay, I can focus on YouTube. I can expand and make an email list. Like, I can do all the things I've been dreaming of doing, but I just haven't had time. So now it's kind of like, okay, it's my turn. And he gets to be like stay-at-home dad and help like bring the kids to school and do all those things that he was really missing out on this whole past year. So it's a different dynamic, but like we're figuring it out, and it's a good change of pace.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like sometimes we see these stay-at-home mom creators and we're like, how do you create all this content and do all these things? But they don't always acknowledge the fact that they do either have help with their kids go to school or their husband's at home, and they have a little bit of extra time to focus on doing it. They're not just stay-at-home moms with all the kids, or they just don't sleep. Maybe they are. So it's that transparency is nice, because I see you doing all these new things and it's like, wow, oh my gosh, that's amazing. How can I do that too? Oh, I need someone to watch my kids.
Exactly. And I honestly, when I was doing things last year, like when I was solo parenting and trying to do all these things, oh my gosh, I was so burnt out, and I was not mentally well. I was very strung out on trying to do it all and not having any time for myself. So I think having that perspective, and I wish more people were transparent about what really went on behind closed doors, because it is helpful to know, like, oh, okay, I'm not, like there's nothing wrong with me. It's not that she has like 5 extra hours in her day. It's that she has help, or she has, whatever her circumstances are different. So that's why I've actually tried to steer away from being like, oh, I am a stay-at-home mom or working mom, because I don't feel like either of them even fit, and I don't feel like they fit really anyone. Like, honestly, no. I feel like we're all working, we're all mothering, so I hate putting us in boxes, and I hate putting us on teams. It feels like we should be together. We should be working together for the same goal. Why are we trying to separate each other even further? So I don't like that. And I feel like it's hard to compare yourself, because you just don't know anyone else's story, and especially all these like the influencer moms who say, I'm a stay-at-home mom, look at my beautiful life, and it's everything's so easy, and I'm wearing my fairy dress all day. Like, that's great, that's amazing for you, but also it's maybe not reality for everyone else who doesn't have all that extra money and care and all the things that they just don't disclose.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you deal with, I'm assuming you have a variable income. It's different every month depending on how many brand deals you get. How do you deal with that or organize that? Or do you have a goal of like, I want to have this many, or I have to have this many brand deals to be able to pay all my bills? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, so the way that I have made it, like I rationalize it that as long as I have one brand deal a month, our bills are paid. And it has worked out that way. Thankfully, it's gone well. There have been months where it's been ice cold, nothing at all, and it panics me. However, there are also months when I have like 5 deals at once, and I'm like, whoa, okay, we're good. So that's one thing that people don't understand about content creators and the payment is that the payment will be delayed. It could be from 30 days to 120 days. So you are just sitting there waiting to get paid for months on end. And then oftentimes they are late and you are bugging them for weeks on end to pay you. So it's like you're just constantly chasing your payment and waiting for your payment. And it can be very nerve-wracking, especially when there's no other income coming in. So I have just been saving. Like, whenever I have a really good month, I will save. So that way I know, okay, at least we're good for like the next 6 months. If I go ice cold, 6 months, we're good. So that makes me feel better. And because there are months that are amazing and for everyone, like you'll just have like really hot months. And that's usually when you have really high engagement months and people will be like, wow, she's doing awesome. She's popping off. Let's get her on a deal. When you have your low months, you're not going to get anything. So just be smart and be saving. That way you don't screw yourself over in the future.
Build your emergency fund, everybody.
Yes.
Do you have a management team or like accountants, lawyers at all that you work with?
So I do have a management team. I just started with one in January, and it has been a game changer. It's amazing because she not only negotiates and pushes for me because I am a little weak baby who will be like, I'll just cry about it and be like, okay, fine, I'll do it for this, you know? So she's like, she fights for me and pushes, like, she's gotten me amazing deals, and she handles all my emails. So that just takes one other thing off of my plate, which I love. And then as far as accountant goes, I am actually meeting with one on Monday, and I've been meaning to do this for months. I just haven't gotten around to it. 'Cause also, I'm just actually really intimidated by it, but obviously it's necessary being a self-employed business owner. So I'm doing that. I have one lined up. I do not have a lawyer yet, though, and I'm sure that's probably my next move to get all my bases covered. But yeah, I feel like it's some like things that like, especially when you're a stay-at-home mom and you jump into being a content creator full time, you're like, whoa, I have to learn business.
Yeah.
Like, I have to go to school for business. I went to school for health science. Like, I'm totally, this is not my realm. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out. I'm Googling everything and trying not to stress myself out to tears. But it's a lot. And there's so much more that goes on that people don't realize on the business end. Like, we are business owners. And so that's why when people are like, oh, they're just such cute stay-at-home moms who don't do anything but post cute little videos. Like, no, there's a lot that goes on behind it. And it's important also to cover those bases because, again, you don't want to be screwed over.
Yeah, you want to be able to file your taxes correctly and not get screwed in contracts.
Exactly.
I think one day there's going to be a content creation major in universities.
I've heard there is already.
There is.
Wow. I've heard that. Yeah.
I mean, there has to be. With the way it's going, it's the new frontier is being a content creator. It's the new advertising. Like marketing is a degree. Now it's going to be content creation.
Yeah.
That's so fun. How'd you get, I mean, if you don't mind sharing, like, how did you get a management team?
So my friend, who's also a content creator, she is really like, she has worked in marketing and all the business side of it for a very long time. She was in corporate for years and years. So she just was like, I'm actually really good at this. Maybe I should start helping people do this. And so since she was a friend of mine, I had met with other agencies and it didn't feel right. It felt like I was just a little pipsqueak in a big box of all these other girls. And I'm like, well, not, why would they treat me, fight for me or treat me special or whatever? Like, I want someone who's going to be like out there, like getting me deals and really working for me. So I trusted her, and it's been great ever since. She now has, I think there are like 8 or 9 of us total. And she's been able to like quit her corporate job and do this full time. So it's really cool to see everything. Like, we're all just out here achieving our dreams and making it happen. And it's really cool. I feel like it just takes that big leap of faith because it's so scary. But, you just got to believe in yourself and really dive in.
That was so fun.
Yeah. And how does it work paying a management person or team? Like, do they take a percentage or do you pay an hourly rate or what's that like?
Yeah. So it's percentage based. The standard is 20%. You might find people who go as low as 15 or as high as 25, but standard is 20.
So they're really motivated to get you good deals with brands because that increases their pay too.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, hey, it works for me. Yeah, I held off for a long time getting one just because I was like, well, I still want that extra money. It could be a lot of money, and those big deals. But when it comes to them handling all of the negotiation, all of the email, all of that stuff, it actually, I feel like they earn their money when they're doing all of that. They definitely go to work.
Yeah, and it leaves more space in your brain to focus on the creativity, which is what you love.
Yes, like I am a creative through and through. That's all I want to do. I hate this business stuff. If I could hire a business person, I would in a heartbeat. So I just want to create.
I love that. And is most of your income from brand deals, or do you have income from affiliates, or what's kind of the percentage of that?
Yeah, so I would say it's like 90% brand deals. And then I have affiliates, like I do LTK, I do Amazon, I have different little affiliates here and there with other companies. But I would say maybe overall those in total bring in 100 to 200, like on a good month, maybe 300. But that's also because I don't really push that stuff. Like I'm not like one of those people that are linking things all the time. And I could be. I probably should be a little better at that, but I also don't want my page to feel like you need to be like consuming and buying and all that stuff. So I don't feel like that is my brand and my page. But there are other people, like I have friends, one of my fashion friends who does mostly like Amazon hauls. She makes 90% affiliate. Like she makes a killing off of affiliate stuff and only 10% brand deal. Like it's just totally depends on what your demographic is.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, we have a few questions from listeners. So there's just 3 questions. One is this a long-term career for you?
I would say yes. I feel like this is something I wish I could kind of go back and start 10 years ago to like really grow back in the heyday. And it's something I've always been drawn to. Like I said, I was always a little performer and creative, and it's just, it's fun for me. Like even if I wasn't getting paid, I would still do it. I would probably do it and feel a little less stressed, but I probably wouldn't be as like well thought out because it'd be more like, yeah, just whenever I feel like posting kind of thing. But yeah, I would do it regardless. So yeah, I'm hoping to grow this into a long-term thing. You know, that's why I use my name, because we can keep growing together. And when I have my grandkids one day, oh, you know, there's Granny Chelsea out there. So I just hope to keep growing my audience with me.
I love it.
I love that too. And what are your five-year goals? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you have a follower count or, you know, brand deal number that you want, $1 million deal, or what does that look like?
Yeah, well, let's see. In 5 years, I've been thinking 1 year ahead, but let's think 5 years ahead.
You can tell us 1 year.
1 year ahead, my goal is to be making like a gross 200K as an influencer. And then, I'm not super focused on like follower count. Would it be nice to like break 100K on one of my platforms? Yeah, that would feel good. I am stalling, you know, just underneath for a long time now. So I'm like, you know what? It's fine. As long as my bills are paid, that's all that really matters to me. And as long as I'm having fun, as long as I have my community of people who are actually there for me and like it's a genuine connection there, then I'm good. I would rather have that small, close-knit community than like a big group of like secret haters, you know? Mm-hmm. So my focus is really just the income. And as long as I can produce good quality content, that's something I'm actually really focusing on now, is like curating my Instagram content to be higher quality, more engaging, so that I can bring in those higher brand deals.
Well, and you're diversifying platforms.
Yes, yeah. So I guess I should add that too. My goal is to really grow on YouTube. So I've been trying to create more long form stuff over there and really grow and monetize over there, because you can make such good money and some like oftentimes passive with those videos just being up, gaining and gaining. So that's something that I haven't had time to do because of all the editing and thought goes into those, and they're intimidating. But now I'm like, okay, that's going to be my goal, because I feel like I've done like I've really focused on TikTok in the past, and then I've really focused on Instagram last year, and now is the year of YouTube.
I love it. Our last question is, what are your favorite tools for content creation?
So I use CapCut. That's how I edit everything. I edit on my phone. I edit on my YouTube videos on my laptop. Also a laptop. CapCut for videos. For photos, I love Lightroom. Like I just use the Lightroom version on my phone. And again, being a photographer, like I know how to really use that and make things look good there. And I feel like it is pretty user friendly, honestly. And then I use like this vlogging camera, the G7X that everyone's always talking about. It actually is so worth the hype. The Canon.
Do you use that for like even your day in the life videos, or just YouTube, or?
Just YouTube. I probably, honestly, if I wanted higher quality for my Instagram, I totally could do that. And that might be in the works later too. But I love that for YouTube. I'm trying to think, what's the other one?
Okay, I have an idea for an email, like, or a grabby would be your top photography, like not filters, but what are they called? The presets, or like your settings. Yeah, for just getting
yeah.
good photos. Because like I have the free Lightroom app, but it's like I don't know anything about what all the things mean. And I would totally be like, oh, okay, this is how I take better pictures or edit better pictures. So just an idea. I would subscribe for that.
YouTube video.
Oh, that too. Yeah, YouTube video. I mean, put it on all of your
pictures of your
platforms.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that. I was thinking of demonstrating to moms how to take a really good photo, like with their phone camera or even like with a like smaller, cheaper camera at home. But also editing is a great note too, because that's like icing on the cake to make it look really good and shareable. So
Yeah,
that's good. I'll have to do that. But other than that, like I feel like app wise, besides like, you know, regular, I mean, I use Pinterest for inspiration sometimes. And yeah, really I think that just CapCut, like it does it all. Seriously, I do the pro version. And then I just bought the Flowdesk to do emails. So I'm excited for that. But that's it. There's nothing like I don't feel like, and to get started, you really don't need anything fancy. You just need your phone and CapCut. You can do the free version. I literally just upgraded after 3 years to CapCut Pro, so you do not need it at all. I only did that for now. I'm doing YouTube, and I do need it now. But other than that, most things are free.
Do you record in your phone camera or do you record in CapCut?
In my phone camera.
Phone
always.
camera. Okay.
Yeah.
The back
And I
camera.
have an iPhone 14 Pro. And I feel like the camera is amazing. And if I'm doing, like, if I want it to look really crisp, then I use the back camera on cinematic and it looks so good.
Okay, good tip.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a selfish question because this is something I struggle with. How do you organize all of the pictures and videos on your phone? I have so many. I don't know what to do with all of them.
You know, that is actually a great question, one I don't have the answer to.
Or is your phone as chaotic as mine is?
It probably is worse. It looks so chaotic. I'm actually trying to work on that myself. I try to go through and actually delete a lot of, like, you know, like when you share a story and it saves your camera roll or just little things I take the other day. I try to delete a lot of things, but I am not good at that at all. If I have, like, if it's something for business or like a headshot or, you know, something for the podcast, something like that, then I'll put it in the right folder or I'll favorite something to come back to it later. Like, for example, my ads, when I film it, and I'm like, oh crap, like where'd they go? Where are they? And they're like lost in the mess. I'll make sure I put them. I have a folder for campaigns. So I always put it there. And that way I can easily find it for when it's post time. And that saves me a lot of headache. But I wish I knew. If someone has a system, please share because I need help too.
Yeah. Such a mess.
Okay, I know we haven't touched on this at all, but you also have a podcast.
Yeah, we are coming. We just hit our 1 year anniversary back in May.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's been really fun growing it. But like you guys know now, like it's a lot of work for free. Like
Yeah.
you're doing kindness and love out of your heart. So it is a lot of work, like more work than people realize, I think. Like it's easy getting started, obviously, like you're just talking to your microphones, but like the tech stuff and the social media stuff, it's just more mental work on our plates and we're already busy moms.
Yeah. So it's more just like a for fun thing and to grow community type thing for you right now.
Yeah, for now, yeah. Like obviously one day if we could monetize, that would be awesome. But I feel like that's kind of hard to do with podcasts, honestly.
Yeah, it seems like the barrier for entry into monetization is much higher for a podcast than it is for Instagram.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of surprising to me, but yeah, I don't know.
I think because the way they have the analytics is weird. Like they measure downloads, but nobody downloads anymore. And so I think they need to like change that system.
Yeah. Like listens. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like not downloads, but yeah, I don't like that.
Anyways, we're just having fun for now. So
Yeah. First episode got like 10 downloads. We're like happy about that.
I think that's honestly the best way to go, is just go into it having fun, and then if you make money, that's just a perk. Like
Yeah.
we got our paid job at where you guys had your inspo moment, and that was like, wow, everything paid off. You know, like all of our hard work is paid off now. And so it's like you'll have these moments where you're like, okay, it's working, we're doing something right. But yeah, you just have to keep going until you reach those little landmarks, I guess.
Yeah. Man, well, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you want to say or share to someone who might want to become a content creator?
I would just say if you feel, because there are a lot of girls that tell me they really want to, but they feel scared. And so to those girls, I would just say, if you are so scared, block whoever you're scared of. Like literally just go in and block your family, your friends, I mean, all of them, until maybe you have enough followers to feel comfortable showing them what you've been up to, and then unblock them. Because I feel like don't hold yourself back from doing something you feel called to do, and something that not only you feel called to do because you might enjoy it and have fun, but could also change your life. Like people are making an insane amount of money from this, and you will never know if that's going to be you unless you actually try and show up and don't give up. And honestly, people that make it are the ones that don't give up even when it gets hard. So you have to go in full force, fully commit, show up even when no one is watching, act like you were talking to thousands of people. So it's just a hard hump to get past. But if you really want it, then go after it, and it really will change your life, and you can make such good money.
But thank you so much, Chelsea. It has been so fun talking to you and learning all about what it's like to be a content creator, because I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I just know so many people are going to love hearing your story.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She Would Know.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating and review.
We would love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for topics and experts you would like to listen to in the future, drop a line in the comments or send us a message on social media.
To stay up to date with She Would Know and get all the behind the scenes content, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at shewouldknow.podcast.
Don't forget to stay curious, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.